This morning, our passage of Scripture comes from the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verses 1 through 11, and I'm reading it from the New Revised Standard Version. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, "This month shall mark for you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year for you. Tell the whole congregation of Israel that on the 10th of this month they are to take a lamb for each family, a lamb for each household. If a household is too small for a whole lamb, it shall join its closest neighbor in obtaining one. The lamb shall be divided in proportion to the number of people who eat of it. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a year-old male. You may take it from the sheep or from the goats. You shall keep it until the 14th day of the month. Then the whole assembled congregation of Israel shall slaughter it at twilight. They shall take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts and on the lintel of the houses in which they eat it. They shall eat the lamb that same night. They shall eat it roasted over the fire with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. Do not eat any of it raw or boiled in water, but roasted over the fire with its head, legs, and inner organs. You shall let none of it remain until morning. Anything that remains until the morning you shall burn. This is how you shall eat it: your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And you shall eat it hurriedly, for it is the Passover of the Lord."
I've got something to share with you today to start with. Anybody know what this is from the back? Oh, thank you. Some of you remember when we didn't have little golden books, don't you? I know there are a few of you because I read the history when I was preparing the message today. They haven't been around forever. But I love little golden books. They were really the first book designed just for children. There were children's books, but they were full of stories, the big kind of anthology type, the thick ones. So little golden books was something new and unique and fascinating. And I can remember reading little golden books when I was growing up. Now, this isn't the one. I wish I could have found the one I wanted to talk about today, because that would have been more fun. But I remember a little golden book growing up, and I'm going to stick this right over here now. I remember this book in particular because it had to do with a holiday, with Christmas. And of course, we're going to talk about traditions today, but not just at Christmas, but that's always one that kind of has a lot of family traditions with it, isn't it? But this little golden book was so fantastic, and I wish I could find it. I really wish I had it with me today, because it showed the story at Christmas of a family, and a family that went to church together. And I grew up without going to church. And so I can remember being so fascinated by that and thinking, wow, would not that be wonderful to be able to go to church with my family on Christmas? And it just stuck in me forever. I thought how wonderful that is. But one of the most powerful scenes for me was right at the end of the book, because I really didn't know any of my grandparents. There was one that I kind of knew, but I didn't know them. And in the closing scene of the book, there was this picture of the 2 children, of course, always 2 children, a boy and a girl, looking out the window. And here came Grandma and Grandpa out of their car and up the sidewalk carrying gifts. But I'll never forget, because Grandpa had on that, one of those black fedoras. And I know some of you probably still have one of those. I thought, oh man, to have a grandpa that could come up on Christmas Day and wearing that hat and bringing me gifts. Didn't matter what the gifts were. It was the idea of having that kind of family. And that's stuck with me to this day. I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday. And it's so funny that we remember those things. Now, it wasn't that my family didn't have nice Christmas traditions. We did. But there was something so special about that for me that it's something I wanted to have in my family. Traditions offer us a lot of things, and holiday traditions even more, because they're those times that we gather as a family. They contribute to our sense of comfort, our sense of belonging. We feel as if we belong in those times. They also can reinforce our values, what we believe. We do those things at Christmas. You may remember, since I've been here, we had one of those dreaded Christmases when the Christmas fell on a Sunday, remember? And it was the time I told you, why don't you start a new tradition? You remember that? I said, for some of you, your children are visiting from across the country. And I said, why don't you use this as a day to say, hey, this is the one Sunday a year we can go to church together. And so many of you responded that year and came with your families that were stretched across the country. And so there are those kind of things that can happen. We help create new memories all of the time as we're doing these things as a family. And I'm going to get to not just families before the message is over, because this is important to each and every one of us. So why do you think holiday traditions help? I think there are several reasons, but I think one of the things that those kind of rituals do is they help build relationships. We come together, we have an opportunity to nurture the relationships around us, to build ourselves up. They connect us to our history. I told that story from the little golden book, but I would almost imagine that almost every person in here could tell something about their history from a holiday tradition, whether it was Christmas or Thanksgiving or Easter, as Pastor Anna talked about. One of those that speaks to you, that there's a relationship, a history in your family from that particular holiday. They also give us a sense of belonging. I mean, traditions at holidays give us a sense of belonging to something bigger than ourselves. Some kind of group out there that is different than we are and stronger than we are. And they help us remember. Remember. You got the scripture from the day. That's a scripture of remembering. That scripture was put in there so the Jews would never forget the Passover. That every year they would remember the Passover and how important it was in their history. And we're always called to remember those things that feed us towards the future. In fact, if you ever go to a Passover, a Seder meal, that one of the things they'll say is this: it was a night like no other. It's so true, because it's a part of their remembering something so vital in their holiday tradition that they never, ever want to forget. And I think many of us look forward to those holiday traditions within our own group, our own family, our extended family. I mean, there are always things that go with it. There are certain times that we have certain kinds of meals, certain kinds of food. You might hear fruitcake there, which I don't think is edible. But I've heard that there's really just one fruitcake, and it gets passed around. I don't know if that's true. But some of you may like fruitcake, but if not, there's Mom's pumpkin pie, or there's something. I laughed last week. I won't mention the names, but we had deviled eggs last week as our meal celebration. And I remember looking at one child who got a deviled egg and didn't eat it. And I said to her, it doesn't taste like Grandma's, does it? And it's so true. It's those traditions. Only your grandmother or your Aunt Betty or whoever it might be can make the meal just right, the pumpkin pie or the sugar cookies or whatever it might be. And for some of us, there's shopping, there's singing. A lot of families have deep, rich traditions of singing at certain holidays, certain songs. I've developed a newer tradition in our family since I moved back to Indiana, and I'm close to two of my children. My daughters, we gather for that almost a weekend of Thanksgiving, and we have a meal together, and it's the tradition of putting up my decorations so I don't have to, which is a really great tradition, on the day after Thanksgiving. But it's so fun because, when you have as many grandchildren as I do, they can decorate a Christmas tree really quickly. So it's kind of a win-win. It's a great tradition that we've established now. We embrace those traditions that are treasured in our past, in our families, in our lives. And they're fun for us, and they're a good thing to do. Now, I want to speak just a minute to how things can change, because some of us, like me, are single. And when you're single, traditions can be different and difficult, especially when you don't live near your family. But they're still so critically important. Adult singles today, we need to have our own traditions around the holidays that we can build our faith on and remember those things as they happen. They could create memories for us, new memories. They can create a new story and a new time for us while reconnecting us to the bigger identity of our past. Now, not everyone's memory of the holidays in their past is rosy. Not everyone was raised in the perfect family, but there are great things from our past that can help us remember and rebuild a future. Maybe you grew up in a family that did the Secret Santa thing. Well, there's an opportunity for you now as a single adult to say, I'd like to recapture that somehow. Maybe I can do it with a group of friends or Sunday school class or whoever it might be to have a new tradition created. I remember growing up at Thanksgiving time, we always went to my aunt's house, Aunt Hazel. Now, Aunt Hazel, we had a great time. It was the only really time of the year that I ever got together with my dad's family. My mom's family was a lot closer. But we got together, and it was the only place I could ever go where I could actually play a piano. She had a piano. And it was so amazing. And the turkey was always like right on schedule. We were going to eat at noon, and it was always done right at 2 o'clock. And and it was those kind of things that happened, but you counted on. And please, and this is where I ask for your prayers, by the way. It's also being a part of that family that so many of them were from Michigan that I'm a Detroit Lion fan. And I need your prayers, and we need your prayers. But that's why, because we gathered, and their football game was on. First time, by the way, and some of you are old enough to remember this, first time I ever saw a remote-controlled television. And by the way, they weren't electronic, they were mechanical. And you would push this up and down button to get to the 3 channels, and you would hear the whole thing in the TV turning like ka-chunk, and ka-chunk. Somebody's nodding. They remember those kind of things. And I remember those like they were yesterday. But when I moved to Arizona and I became single, I had no Thanksgiving tradition. And I came back at Christmas to be with my kids, but not at Thanksgiving. And so I established a new tradition. I got to be part of a group, and every Thanksgiving morning we would gather at a school and play touch football. As old as I was, we gathered and we did this. Young, old, middle-aged, didn't matter. Everybody played. Became one of my new traditions on that day. And then, being a pastor, I had the great opportunity to choose a different Thanksgiving dinner every year, because I would get invited several places. So I would choose, I think I'll try your food this year. Try your food next year. But it became part of my own tradition. The other thing it can do for us as single people is help build connections, like it did for me, as I just gave the example. It's an opportunity for us not to forget we need connections, don't we? We're not any different than you with the families and extended families and married couples. We need connections also. There's a phrase that it says, I think it was Stephen Covey who wrote the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He talked about that we need emotional bank accounts with people. Otherwise, we need to have a connection with people so that when we're under stress, and the other phrase he used is they can be a relationship cushion for us. And we need those, don't we? We need a place where we can go and just unwind and be cared for when we're under stress, whether we're single or not. And these holiday traditions can give us an opportunity to do that. The other thing they do is they can offer stability for us in the midst of big stressful situations. And we all have those, don't we? So all of those things, they apply to us as singles, but I think they apply to everybody else too. So for us, I think it's an opportunity to make new and old traditions and make them important. And I just want to give you a couple examples today. Now, these can be new ones you can establish that aren't built around those traditional big family ones, but maybe ones that you could start with your family. Baptism today. Wasn't that great? I always love baptisms. And I thought about that, and there's a couple things I think about with that. And one of those is, how about, we celebrate all these important days. How about you help Wally remember how important this day was? You write this on the calendar, and just like a birthday, every day you celebrate the moment you recognized him as a member of God's family. Get the shell out, get the blanket out. He'll love it when he's 20 and 22. He'll love seeing that blanket, But it could be a tradition for you that you build new memories around. What a great opportunity to do that. Maybe you could gather on New Year's Eve with friends or with family, depending whether you're single or have a family, and just make it a yearly event before you do anything else to remember the great things of the past year. Oh, we had a birth. We had this event. We had that event. And so, those are important. Those are important things to recall and remember. Maybe you want to do it Thanksgiving Day and do a gratitude tree. Before you do the holiday decorating, if you do it at that weekend, think about the gratitude, the things you want to celebrate in your friends, your family, your neighborhood, all things that go in your church. What can you be grateful for? Another day might be Earth Day. Earth Day is a great day to just kind of remember and go out, and I can remember, do things like feed the birds, do things like go out and celebrate the nature of the day, but make it a tradition. Make it something that you want to do in your family. On your birthday, here's another great idea. Instead of just receiving gifts, maybe you give a gift to others in honor of a birthday every year. So as your children grow, you help them learn that giving is part of who we are as people of faith. So every year, don't just say, oh, it's my birthday. Oh, what am I going to get? It's my birthday. What can I give? I want to use this day as a day to give to others. So those are just a few suggestions that you might consider doing. There are so many more you could create. Maybe you already have some. Maybe you have some in your family. Maybe as a single person, you have something you do that does these kind of things. So think about what that might do and how that might work. Traditions, new or old, have a big tie to us. They have a strong place in our hearts and our psyches and in our spirits. And so they add meaning to our life and help us bond with other people. So whether yours are things like stringing popcorn for the Christmas tree, whether they're certain parades you go to as a family or with friends at a certain time of year, whether it's something like, okay, we're going to go to the beach every year on the 4th of July, and we're going to do something. We're going to build sandcastles, and we're going to have a great time to celebrate this. Or maybe you take a birthday and say, we're going to have a birthday movie night every year to celebrate our birthday. And you can do your favorite movie or a new movie, or it could be anything. You see, it's not so important what it is. It's so important that you do it, that you establish these holiday traditions, especially faith-filled ones. Gratitude, giving, remembering, loving, caring. And that's what you're passing on to friends and to family when you're able to do that. And it's such an opportunity for us. Family rituals bring a closeness. They create positive memories. They give us an opportunity to remember, just like the Scripture said, but also to anticipate. I'm looking forward to what's coming, not just like the little kids at Christmas, but can we look forward to those other events that recognize the traditions are important in our life? They can help us take away the anxiety of the unknown. As a single person, I can tell you, when I lived away from all family, I liked having my own rituals and traditions because it gave me a sense of peace and comfort. But then as we come together with those that are friends and family, it's an opportunity for a sense of unity and belonging. And that's one of the things the church is all about. Unity and belonging. And I want to tell you, it is never too late to reclaim an old tradition or to start a new tradition. Each and every one of us have opportunities to do that each and every day. You know what? I'm still looking forward to that little golden book Christmas. And I figure it's never too late to start a new tradition. And one day, not too distant future, I'm going to retire. And on Christmas Day, I'll be able to be with my family just like you're with yours. And I'm saving this hat, and I'm getting ready to start that tradition. How about you? Are you ready to embrace an old or start a new tradition that's going to help your family and help you as single people get a sense of belonging and unity? Thanks be to God for the opportunity. Amen.